Have you ever wondered whether you're doing the right thing by visiting your friends frequently after 60? What if I told you that visiting your friends too often could actually be hurting you more than you realize? I know, it sounds hard to believe after all. Friendships are meant to be comforting, right? But what if I told you that too much socializing can actually lead to stress, fatigue, and even emotional burnout? That's right, these seemingly harmless visits could be taking a toll on your health, and you wouldn't even know it. But here's the kicker: the reasons why visiting friends too often might be bad for you will completely shock you. The second reason will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about aging and socializing. You'll be surprised at how something so simple as maintaining social visits could impact your energy, mental health, and peace of mind. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why you might want to rethink those frequent trips. Some of the advice here will completely change how you view your relationships after 60. And I guarantee you'll see things in a whole new light. Trust me, this is not something you want to miss. Like, share, and subscribe to Mindful Elder for more wisdom-filled secrets. Reason 1. Friends could be going through a financial crisis, and your visits might add to their stress. After 60, our priorities and lifestyles often change dramatically. Our friends, too, may be experiencing life changes, including financial strain, and they might not be in a position to maintain the social lifestyle they once did. Frequent visits could unintentionally add to their stress, especially if they are struggling financially. Imagine for a moment that one of your closest friends is going through a rough financial patch. They may be living on a fixed income, trying to stretch every dollar. Now, they have to entertain, prepare meals, or even spend money to make you feel comfortable. All of these factors can contribute to anxiety and strain their already limited resources. The pressure to be a good host, even when struggling, is real, and it can cause guilt and discomfort for your friend. Additionally, frequent visits could trigger feelings of inadequacy or embarrassment, especially if they cannot offer the same level of hospitality as they once did. This could affect their mental well-being and even strain the friendship, as they might start avoiding visits to avoid feeling judged or ashamed. It's important to be considerate of the circumstances your friends may be facing. While your intentions are pure wanting to spend time together, the reality could be very different for them. It's always best to communicate openly with your friends, ensuring that you are not unintentionally putting them in an uncomfortable situation. Consider scheduling visits that don't put financial pressure on anyone involved, perhaps offering to bring your own refreshments or finding low-cost activities to enjoy together. This is just one reason why it may be better to reconsider how frequently you visit your friends, especially as you get older and start to prioritize both your well-being and the well-being of those you care about. Next, let's look into how these frequent visits can impact your overall health. Reason 2. The impact of socializing on your health and well-being. Socializing is important for maintaining strong relationships, but as we age, it's crucial to recognize the potential impact frequent socializing can have on our health. While it's natural to want to keep up with social visits and stay connected, research has shown that socializing too often, especially if it involves travel, long hours of sitting, or physically demanding activities, can take a toll on your health, especially after 60. One of the biggest factors is physical strain. As we grow older, our bodies need more time to recover, and excessive socializing can leave us feeling drained or even lead to physical exhaustion. Frequent visits might involve long periods of sitting, driving, or walking, all of which can be tough on joints, muscles, and overall mobility. Too much physical strain can increase your risk for conditions such as arthritis flare-ups, back pain, or heart-related issues. It's essential to listen to your body and give yourself time to rest and recover after social engagements. Moreover, older adults are at a higher risk of stress-related conditions. While spending time with friends is great for emotional well-being, it can also be emotionally taxing if the visits involve negative energy, misunderstandings, or complicated social dynamics. Constant social interactions could lead to emotional exhaustion or stress, affecting your overall mental health. Stress has been linked to an array of physical problems, including high blood pressure, weakened immune system, and poor sleep quality. Additionally, some seniors may experience an increased risk of feeling isolated or socially overwhelmed. They might start resenting the idea of socializing frequently, viewing it as another obligation rather than a source of joy. If this happens, it can worsen feelings of loneliness and isolation, which, as we know, are common struggles for older adults. So, while socializing is an essential part of life, the key here is balance. By reducing frequent visits, you're allowing yourself more time to recharge and focus on your own health. Instead of visiting friends every week, try spacing out visits and consider alternatives like phone calls, video chats, or other low-effort ways of staying connected. Remember, your health is a priority, and sometimes a little space is necessary to ensure that you stay in optimal physical and mental shape. Reason 3. The financial burden of frequent visits. One thing that many people don't consider when planning frequent visits is the financial impact. As we age, financial security becomes more critical, and every expense needs to be accounted for. Frequent social visits can unexpectedly become a financial burden, especially if they involve traveling, gifts, or other expenditures that add up over time. For starters, travel costs can become a significant issue, particularly if your friends live far away or if visiting them requires you to use public transportation or drive long distances. Gas prices, transportation tickets, and even car maintenance costs can pile up, taking a toll on your budget. As we get older, many of us are living on fixed incomes, and spending money on frequent visits to friends or family might strain your finances more than you realize. Additionally, when visiting friends, there's often an expectation to bring gifts or offer meals, whether it's bringing something for a shared meal or buying small tokens of appreciation. While it's wonderful to give, it's important to remember that these little expenses can add up quickly. Even if you're just casually buying a coffee or a simple lunch, over time, these small costs can become significant. What's even more concerning is that the financial strain could come from your friends themselves. Many elderly individuals are living on tight budgets or dealing with financial crises of their own, especially if they've had to retire without a sufficient retirement fund. If you visit them frequently, you may inadvertently be putting more pressure on them to offer hospitality or contribute to activities, which might cause them to feel uncomfortable or stressed, especially if they're already financially strained. The financial burden doesn't end with travel or gift giving. The act of frequent visits may also involve eating out, attending events, or participating in activities that require a budget. These outings may be fun at first, but they can quickly become unsustainable if you're constantly socializing and participating in group activities. Additionally, some seniors may feel obligated to keep up with their friends, even when they don't have the financial means to do so. So, when you're considering whether or not to visit friends frequently, it's essential to think about your budget and your financial well-being. This doesn't mean you shouldn't visit at all, but rather that you should space out visits or find ways to keep things low cost. Opting for alternatives like virtual hangouts or less expensive outings can help you maintain your relationships without putting unnecessary strain on your finances. Next, let's dive into how constantly socializing could actually cause stress in your friendships. You might be surprised by how this could affect your relationships. Reason 4. The unintended stress on friendships. You may not realize this, but frequent visits to friends can sometimes unintentionally cause stress in your relationships. While it's true that spending time together can strengthen bonds, the dynamics of friendships can become strained when there's an expectation of constant social interaction. First, consider this. Your friends, just like you, may have their own personal space and their own need for peace and quiet. They may be dealing with their own stresses, whether related to family, health, or financial concerns. Sometimes, the constant pressure of entertaining or having someone over can create a sense of obligation, making them feel overwhelmed or even resentful. Moreover, your friends might not always be in the same mental or emotional space that you are. As you age, your priorities shift, and some of your friends may find themselves more interested in spending time alone, taking care of their health, or simply enjoying a quieter life. They may not have the energy or desire to maintain the same frequency of socializing, and your regular visits could unintentionally cause them stress. This could create an emotional imbalance in your friendship, with one person feeling as though they are giving more than they are receiving. Additionally, there could be an emotional toll on your side as well. The idea of constantly maintaining a good time for your friends can lead to pressure on you, especially if you feel like you need to be on every time you visit. This could add anxiety or a sense of exhaustion that takes away from the joy of spending time together. What you initially thought was a fun, easygoing visit might start to feel like a chore for both parties, leading to resentment or feelings of disconnection. And then, there's the problem of expectations. If you're always visiting, there can be a subtle expectation that you'll always be available for more visits. If you decide you need a break or want to slow down the frequency of your visits, it can be difficult to communicate this without making it seem like you're withdrawing from the friendship. This delicate balance of maintaining your social life while respecting personal boundaries can sometimes be tricky, and failing to find that balance could harm the relationship in the long run. Lastly, you might be unintentionally putting your friends in a situation where they feel like they are hosting you rather than just spending quality time together. Friends can start to feel that they need to prepare for your visits, making the experience feel more like a duty than a relaxed, enjoyable time. This expectation can shift the dynamic of your friendship from one of mutual enjoyment to one of obligation, creating distance and, eventually, strain. So, before you plan that next visit, consider how your friends might be feeling. Are they open to it? Are they as eager to socialize as they once were? Are there any signs of emotional strain or exhaustion on their side? Taking these into account will not only preserve the integrity of the relationship, but ensure that your visits are more meaningful and enjoyable for both of you. Now, let's talk about how socializing might impact your health. It's not just about emotional or financial strain. Sometimes, socializing too much can actually have a physical toll. You won't believe how this can affect you. Reason 5. The impact of socializing on your health. While we all know that spending time with friends can lift our spirits, what many people don't realize is that frequent socializing, especially as we get older, can have a surprising impact on our physical and mental health. Yes, it may sound counterintuitive, but excessive socializing, particularly the kind that involves frequent visits, can create stress on your body and mind, which you need to consider before planning that next trip to a friend's house. As we age, our bodies require more rest and recovery time. When you visit friends too often, you might be unknowingly compromising your own well-being. The travel to and from their homes, the energy it takes to engage in social activities, and even the emotional effort required to maintain conversations or entertain others can cause unnecessary fatigue. This cumulative stress can affect your immune system, leaving you more vulnerable to illnesses, especially during the colder months when flu season is at its peak. Moreover, constant socializing can lead to disturbed sleep patterns. When you spend time outside your home, especially in a social setting, it can interfere with your normal bedtime routine. If you're staying up later than usual, whether for a dinner party, a game night, or just visiting a friend, it can negatively affect your circadian rhythm. A lack of proper sleep has been linked to a number of health problems, including weakened immunity, cognitive decline, and increased risk of chronic diseases like hypertension and diabetes. Stress is another significant factor here. Social situations often bring about heightened emotional responses. Whether it's dealing with a tense conversation or navigating differences in opinions, socializing can sometimes be stressful. As stress levels increase, so does the release of cortisol, also known as the stress hormone. When cortisol levels remain high over extended periods, it can contribute to inflammation in the body, leading to a variety of health issues, from joint pain to cardiovascular problems. This is particularly concerning for older adults, as the body's ability to recover from stress diminishes with age. Additionally, visiting friends too often may lead to unhealthy lifestyle choices. Perhaps you're tempted to indulge in foods or drinks that aren't part of your regular healthy routine, whether it's eating heavier meals, indulging in sugary snacks, or consuming alcohol during social gatherings. These behaviors can have an adverse effect on your health. Over time, they can add up, leading to weight gain, blood sugar issues, or even heart disease. This is especially true if you find yourself socializing in ways that encourage unhealthy eating or drinking habits. Not to mention, there's the mental health aspect. While socializing is often thought of as a mood booster, overscheduling social activities can leave you feeling drained, anxious, or emotionally overwhelmed. Even though you may enjoy spending time with your friends, feeling pressured to constantly maintain social commitments can create underlying stress. The constant hustle of balancing your personal life with frequent visits can lead to burnout, anxiety, and a sense of being overextended. So, when it comes to managing your health in your golden years, it's essential to recognize that balance is key. Too much socializing can take a toll on both your physical and mental health. It's important to set healthy boundaries, ensure you have time for rest, and prioritize self-care. After all, taking care of yourself is the best way to ensure you can continue to enjoy meaningful friendships for years to come. Now, for the most surprising reason that may completely change your perspective on visiting friends in your senior year zone that you might never have considered before, let's dive into the next point. You're going to want to hear this. Reason 6. The hidden emotional toll of over-socializing. While socializing is often seen as a way to stay connected and ward off loneliness, there's a side to it that many overlook: the emotional toll it can take, especially as you get older. It's easy to believe that spending time with friends is always positive, but sometimes, too much social interaction can actually have the opposite effect, leaving you feeling emotionally drained, isolated, and even overwhelmed. At a certain age, your emotional energy and capacity to engage in social activities are not as abundant as they used to be. As you grow older, you may find that your priorities shift, and what once felt like a fulfilling social outing now becomes a source of stress. The pressure to maintain relationships, meet others' expectations, and stay active in social circles can result in emotional fatigue. This is particularly true if your social life involves frequent visits with people who aren't in the same emotional space as you, or those who might be dealing with personal challenges that indirectly impact your own emotional well-being. Moreover, visiting friends regularly, especially if they're in difficult circumstances themselves, can inadvertently pull you into negative emotional environments. If your friends are going through tough times, whether due to health issues, financial difficulties, or personal crises, their emotional state can affect you. Even though you might feel like you're being a supportive friend, this constant exposure to negativity can weigh heavily on your own mental state. Over time, this emotional stress can lead to feelings of anxiety, helplessness, and sadness, which can be draining. You may start to feel more like an emotional caretaker rather than a friend, and this shift can make socializing feel more like a burden than a joy. It's also important to consider that, as you age, your emotional resilience changes. In your younger years, you might have been able to handle the emotional ups and downs of relationships with relative ease. But as you enter your 60s and beyond, the emotional weight of frequent socializing can feel heavier. The mental and emotional effort of keeping up with multiple social commitments can lead to burnout, a sense of emotional exhaustion, and even depression. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't engage with your friends, far from it. What it does mean is that you need to be selective about how often you commit to these visits. Quality, not quantity, should be the focus. Instead of overloading your schedule with frequent visits, consider limiting your social engagements to those that bring you genuine joy and emotional fulfillment. Prioritize relationships where you feel emotionally supported rather than drained. In fact, some of the best friendships in your later years can be those where you don't feel obligated to constantly show up. It's about finding balance and understanding that it's okay to say no sometimes. Taking care of your emotional health is just as important as staying physically healthy. And sometimes that means cutting back on how often you interact socially. So, as surprising as it may sound, the emotional toll of frequent social visits could be one of the most significant reasons why limiting your socializing could actually enhance your overall well-being. And now, as we move to wrap things up, we'll discuss how to balance socializing and personal time for the healthiest lifestyle in your later years. Stay with us for the final tips. And there you have its 6 powerful reasons why visiting your friends frequently after 60 might not always be the best choice for your well-being. It's all about finding balance. Taking care of your health, mental state, and emotional energy should always be your top priority. Socializing is important, but so is knowing when to step back and take time for yourself. Remember, it's not about cutting people off, it's about that you're in the right space to be the best version of yourself for both you and your friends. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you manage your social life as you age? Have you experienced any of these challenges, or maybe even found ways to overcome them? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And don't forget, if you found these tips helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insights on how to live a fulfilling life after 60. We're just getting started, and in the next video, we'll dive into some incredible Stoic wisdom that can help you master life's challenges with grace and strength. Trust me, you won't want to miss it, especially if you're ready to take control of your life and your relationships.